like you wouldn't believe. Essentially, they were raided early in the morning. They were arrested, smeared, falsely accused. Essentially, the FBI said, oh, you're not really a monk, even though he clearly was a monk engaged in religious activity, and they had every reason to know he was. Falsely accused him of messing with COVID money, and they let him twist in the wind for a year under the Biden Justice Department before they threw all the charges out or just didn't pursue them because there was no evidence anything wrong had been done. So we have another important case. I guess it's a case. It's a legal matter, not a lawsuit yet. But we represent two individuals, including a Greek Orthodox monk and his general counsel, who were maliciously arrested and charged after a 2022 FBI raid. And we filed a claim on their behalf under the Federal Tort Claims Act. Essentially what you do is, and I'm paraphrasing here, I have the complaint here. You can see it. I think we linked to it on the website. Let me see if we did link to it. You can always go to judicialwatch.org to look at the press releases I'm talking about. Yeah, there it is. Federal Tort Claims Act claim. So here it is. I'll pull it up. Do view. Sean O'Donnell, our senior attorney, filed it on behalf of Father Brian Andrew Bushell and Tracy Stockton. And essentially, what happened to them, no American should go through. It was the result, in my view, of anti-Christian bias, abuse of power, like you wouldn't believe. Essentially, they were raided early in the morning. They were arrested, smeared, falsely accused. Essentially, the FBI said, oh, you're not really a monk, even though he clearly was a monk engaged in religious activity, and they had every reason to know he was. Falsely accused him of messing with COVID money, and they let him twist in the wind for a year under the Biden Justice Department before they threw all the charges out or just didn't pursue them because there was no evidence anything wrong had been done. So we filed a claim on their behalf, our attorneys did, and depending on how the claim is handled, once the certain time frame goes by, a lawsuit can be filed over this abuse by the Biden Justice Department and the Biden FBI. So it wasn't just folks like Trump who were targeted. There was kind of this crazed, vicious anti-Christian approach that saw a Christian monk arrested. And they had contempt for him. When they were arguing with him about whether he was a monk or not. Doesn't that remind you of the FBI putting agents in the pews or characterizing certain religious beliefs among Catholics as being indicators of extremism? And wait till you hear about the U.S. attorney who was involved in this. She was up there for a year. Biden appointed her. She got in by the skin of her teeth. It was a 50-50 vote. And the only way she got through was Kamala Harris voting for her. Father Bushell, Tracy Stockton, and the Shrine of St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker, St. Paul's Foundation, the Annunciation House, and the Marblehead Brewing Company, which was, I guess, a project of the religious operation up there, the church, victims of the acts of federal government employees acting in the scope of their official duties suffered economic and non-economic damages as a result of the intentional acts, including malicious prosecution, false arrest and imprisonment, assault and battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And this was a result of by federal agents who participated in the preparation or execution of the warrants on October 13th, 2022. U.S. Marshal Service, U.S. Attorney's Office, etc., all sorts of agencies involved. And I said that they ended up just basically abandoning the charges because they had no basis. Imagine you being arrested. Imagine your local priest or pastor was arrested and they came and said, well, you're not really a priest or a pastor, even though you've been running a parish or a church, what have you, for years. And this is the classic. The attorney, U.S. attorney, under whose authority this abuse was conducted, had to resign because, by all accounts, she was a crook. Rollins, her name was Rollins, was publicly reprimanded by state bar regulators in 2025 for violations outlined in a 2023 Justice Department report that found Rollins improperly attended a Democrat fundraising event in her capacity as a prosecutor with Jill Biden. She also knowingly and willfully made a false statement during the interviews with former Inspector General Michael Horowitz's office. So, I'm looking at this material here, and the filing is worth reading to show just how abusive the FBI was. It's further indication that the FBI needs to be dismantled. They've got agents. Everyone says, "Oh, the line agents. You gotta be, you gotta respect them. They're just doing good work, and it's the leaders." No. The FBI is rotten through and through, and so I encourage you to read the full report. But when you look at this U.S. attorney, you got to wonder, why hasn't she been prosecuted? I want you to take a look, and I encourage you to look at the IG report because it is something else. Let's bring it up so you understand. Let me see. Publicly reprimanded. Okay, here it is. And I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to kind of show you the table of contents, which is investigation of alleged misconduct by Rachel Rollins, U.S. attorney. She, by the way, resigned and avoided, quote, discipline. So let me see. So I'm just looking here, and I'll just show you the so essentially what she did was she sent out materials and leaked information to try to affect an election, lied about it, and it gets even better. So here's the OIG analysis. Rollins used her position as U.S. attorney and non-public DOJ information available to her as a U.S. attorney in an attempt to influence the Suffolk DA election in violation of government ethics standards, department policy, and the terms of her ethics agreement. She violated 18 U.S.C. 1001 by knowingly and willfully making false statements. Rollins lacked candor during her OIG interview about her communications with two reporters. She violated department policy that restricts the political activities of non-career department employees. So that's pretty bad, but it gets even, I shouldn't say better. Look at this section. Additional allegations of ethics and policy violations by Rollins. Rollins discloses non-public DOJ letters about potential civil rights matters to the media. Okay? That's A. B. Rollins solicits and accepts 30 free Boston Celtics tickets to give to youth basketball teams in connection with an MAUSAO Project Safe Neighborhoods event. Rollins offers Boston Celtics tickets to the championship teams in a tournament. She contacts the Celtics to obtain the free tickets. The Celtics offer and Rollins accepts 2 free tickets to the game. Now, the value of the tickets they were getting for her project there was $2,400. And of course, she was free to the game as well. So she goes to the game with a friend using the tickets and takes a photo with the youth basketball group. Rollins accepts non-federal payment of travel expenses on 2 separate occasions. So she participates in an invitation-only summit in California, gets paid by a third party for lodgings, travel, and meals, goes to a convention. This entertainment agency also pays for her lodging. Just classic great work here. She calls and discusses a case from which she is recused. She called a radio show. Rollins participates with elected officials from one political party in a press conference regarding a draft Supreme Court opinion in the Dobbs case. By the way, that was a legally leaked opinion. And she's obviously behind all that, behind embracing that illegality through this partisan effort. And then she kept on doing fundraising for her prior political position after she was placed as U.S. Attorney. So I'm outraged about what they did to Judicial Watch's clients here. Father Bushell and Tracy Stockton. 2 innocents who were literally carrying out Christ's work. And for that, it looks like they were targeted. But the U.S. Attorney, who is responsible as head of the office for this, looks to be someone who should be prosecuted. So there are 2 scandals. The abuse of Judicial Watch's clients with this raid. They arrested a monk. And the fact they had a U.S. attorney who was completely out of control in terms of following basic ethics rules and criminal law while supposedly upholding the law. So hopefully the Justice Department, the Trump administration, makes our clients whole in response to this administrative claim or civil claim. But also they should look into a prosecution of this U.S. attorney or former U.S. attorney. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.